Hey, what's up? How are you doing? It's Pastor Andre Anderson again. First of all, before I get into the content of this video, I want to say thank you to every single person that has viewed the video, watched the video, shared the video, commented on the video. I even had some individuals who sent me direct messages. That was really cool. I'm trying to get back to everyone, so if I don't respond right away, it's just because I'm trying to figure out how do I type a little bit faster using only 2 fingers. So in the last video, just so I get straight to it, we talked about what change looks like. You know, changing your position. You know, Bartimaeus was sitting on the floor. He stands and he moves. So he literally changes his position before his life situation changes. I also talked about moving, even if you can't necessarily see where you're going. It doesn't mean that you're not in the process of moving and changing just because you can't see and plot all of what this looks like. And then finally, I also talked to you about moving forward despite what your limitations are. Now, I don't plan on talking about Bartimaeus every single time, but there were some other things within this story of change that I didn't cover in the first video, and I kind of want to tie it off for this next video by focusing on some other key things that happened in the life of Bartimaeus. So I've already spoken about those first 3, but now I want to talk to you about what change should look like. So in this particular story, one of the things that I really appreciate about what Bartimaeus does is he speaks up for himself. Now, let's just be honest with ourselves. Every now and then, we want to see change happen, but we're always kind of trying to circumvent and go around things and see if we can ask somebody to speak up on behalf of ourselves. And I have to tell you, that almost never works. So yes, it is true that we need to network and we need to work with people, but if no one ever gets to hear your voice, then you don't get to control your destiny. Now, there was also this other thing that happened in the story, and I'm hoping that you guys are going to go back into Mark chapter 10, verses 46 through to 52. I really liked this principle because it's true. In this particular story of Bartimaeus, when he begins to change positions, he doesn't allow the reality that because Christ wants him to change, who's only one person, and then there's this crowd of other people that don't want him to change, he doesn't get distracted by that. You know, I think it's true that often, whenever we want to see change happen into our lives, if several people become naysayers or they say something that's not really kind to us, we have a way of cowering and saying, forget it, I didn't really want it anyways. But I have to tell you, whenever change is happening, change without opposition almost never is worth it. So you have to decide to use your voice and then drown out the crowd. The reality is that what you're trying to do with your life, the crowd doesn't have to endorse you in order for you to change. You know, we need to stop seeking for people's approval whenever we want to do things, because at the end of the day, whether or not the crowd wants you to grow, whether or not they appreciate what you're trying to do or not, change is for you to experience. Now, Bartimaeus does this thing, and I've seen it so many times, especially New Year's resolutions. People write down several things. They'll say, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do the other, and I'm going to do all of these things for 2000 and whatever, or 19 whatever. Can I tell you? Start with one thing. Just one thing. By the time Bartimaeus gets to Jesus, Jesus says to him, what do you want me to do for you? And Bartimaeus doesn't give him a long list. Bartimaeus says, I want to receive my sight. Which means that Bartimaeus is aware that if he gets change in his life for this one particular thing, which is his eyesight, that opens the door for so many other things. So what I have to tell you is, when you're looking to change, don't try to change 1,000,001 things at a time. Change one thing at a time, because if you can get some change in one thing, you may find that change in that area begins to move you in the direction that you're trying to go to for everything else. Now, finally, and then I'm done. Because I often find that people have these resolves to get rid of naysayers and haters and people that don't like you. If you read the story of Bartimaeus, and I love the way that the Bible unpacks this particular story, Bartimaeus, when he receives his sight, even though Jesus says to him that he can go his way, Bartimaeus actually stays within the community that he found his eyesight in. And so can I tell you, those of you that are listening to this, when you are doing change, you can't only do change with people that are for you. You have to do change with whomever, but you have to keep your eyes on the person that actually creates the transformation in your life. So Bartimaeus continues to follow Jesus after he receives his sight, but he doesn't, what's the word I want to use? He doesn't isolate him from the rest of the community just because they may not have been kind to him. Because when you want to change, I should say this because this is maybe a personal thing that I believe, when you desire to have change, you should also seek the good of others to change, even if they don't necessarily embrace you at first. So this is all I wanted to talk about. I hope that this has been informative for you. Again, like it, share it. If there's anybody that's looking to do some change, you've already done it. And I should tell you, I didn't even think that we'd get 4,000 hits. So please do the same thing again. And I hope that you will be blessed by these videos as I continue to put them up one at a time. Happy New Year. And I hope to hear from you soon. God bless. Pastor Anderson.